Hey, yo, what's up? This is Cypher Marshall Currents Rain back up in this anti-Illuminati all day, anti-telepathy all day, anti-America all day, and everybody with them. Yeah, so this video basically is going to be about um, how would your famous celebrities feel about the age of consent being at under 18 in 40 states. I gotta hit these different angles so because a lot of you guys, you're one track minded. So when I tell you this information, you just sit there. You don't think like people that have many different types of tracks in their minds. They think about the reality of it, how it's going on, and obviously in all the states that it's going on in. When I tell you this, you just sit there. Most Americans are one track minded. So I say all that to say this, I gotta hit different angles concerning the reality of 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. I gotta hit different realities, different angles of the reality, so that you can understand what's really taking place in your society. Okay? I want to note that throughout all the interviews that your famous people have had, your politicians have had, we have not heard the soundbite, most of us, that 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. We have not heard this soundbite, not in interviews, governmental, politician-wise, politics, or famous rappers and singers. We have not heard them talk about specifically, not a couple states, the full blueprint, if you will, of how America feels about the age of consent. We have not heard it in one sentence, in one soundbite, talking about the basic reality of how America feels overall about the age of consent. The age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. For people that's kind of slow, that's 40 out of 50, which means that's the majority of the community that agrees by law and by state law that adult men can put their penises in children vaginas. Adult entities, human beings that are not adults yet. So an adult man can put his penis inside of a human that's not an adult yet by law in 40 states in America. Now, is it a mystery that you have not heard this information? Just plainly. We know everything. We talk about, we know all these other things about our laws. All these Southern people are quicker to talk about the amendments, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, but you never went to research out of all these scandals with children and all these scandals with famous people with children. You would think that someone would birth the factuality of the information of 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. You would think that would have came up, or Americans would have published that information, or been more verbal about this information after the Michael Jackson court cases, and the R. Kelly court cases, which is more relevant. You would think by now somebody would have looked up the age of consent because of those, just interesting facts, just wanting to know. When you have two high status people that you know in your community that you loved and adored before those cases, you would think that some of you would research because of your love for R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. You would think, and Michael Jackson alone, much as y'all love Michael Jackson, ain't none of y'all went and go see the age of consent for the whole country? That's a little mysterious to me. You love Michael Jackson. All of you do. You still talk about him to this day. But you didn't go research the age of consent to see if your man was even clear and innocent. You would think that if you loved him so much, you would try to go research the ages of consent. What does it say about the age that a man can have sex with a human being? What's the first age a man can have sex, or a woman can have sex, or an adult can have sex with a human being? You would think that your country by culture, would have all these news reporters, all these people who interviewed Michael Jackson. No one talked about the age of consent being 40 states in America under the age of 18. You didn't hear anybody who interviewed Michael Jackson who tried to scandalize his name, bring up the soundbite information, the sentence of the totality of how America feels about the age of consent, which is 40 states allows adult penis to go into females' children's vaginas. All these people who interviewed Michael Jackson, even Gail interviewing R. Kelly. Gail, do you know that 40 states allows adults to have sex with children? While you're sitting there in almost an interrogating aura against R. Kelly, Gail, Oprah friend, that Gail King, did you know 40 states allows adults to have sex with children? Did you know, Gail King, 40 states allows adult penis to go into children's vagina? Did you know that in 40 states? Did you know that? It would seem like it would be information that would be handy while you were interviewing R. Kelly. That's handy information. We're accusing them of being with children. You're not going to research what is legally right concerning it? That's what's really mysterious to me, y'all. That's all I'm saying. That's mysterious. No soundbite of this throughout your culture. Not in the interviews, not in any of the videos, not famous people, non-famous people, all these prison shows. You don't hear the soundbite in American culture, in movies, songs, anywhere, all throughout, like I said, prison shows. You don't hear the soundbite sentence of the totality of how America feels about the age of consent, which is 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. Don't hear it nowhere. No one's talking about it. You don't even hear anybody talk about the age of consent, period, really. But yet America's witch hunting everybody about children. That's where the destruction comes in. That's where the destruction comes in. Nobody ain't playing with you. Nobody's not playing with you, man. Nobody's not playing with you. That's where the destruction comes in. You're playing, we're not. That's where the destruction comes in. For all the people that you've witch hunted and you didn't even know 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. We don't care about what you feel about children because if you cared so much about children, you didn't even take the time to research the age of consent for sex with children. So how can you sit up trying to witch hunt somebody? No, that's where your destruction comes in because it's too sharp of a contrast. That's what separates you from other countries. Other countries do not contradict their culture. Everyone knows in Russia the age of consent is 16. Okay? You Americans, where you differ from other countries is you teach otherwise than the age of consent is under 18 in 40 states. You teach otherwise than that. You teach that adults should only be with adults. And by action, you have insinuated this as well. You witch hunt people for adults being with children. But adults get to be with children legally in 40 states. That's the difference. So because your actions have contrasted and you have begun witch hunting people and harassing people and even the FBI looking for child pornography rings, pedophile rings, This is where you contradict yourself, because a lot of times those ages are varies between 16 and 17, folks. Folks, a lot of these people that you talk about getting caught up in sexual situations are 16 at times and 17 at times, yes. Okay? Yes. Let's put it like this. Nobody in this country, in America, is cool with 16-year-old girls having sex with fully grown men. No one in this country is cool with 17-year-old girls. As far as the American community as a whole, they're not cool with 17-year-old girls having sex with 50-year-old men. Russia doesn't have that problem. You see what I'm saying? Russia doesn't have that problem. You do. You teach children should not be having sex with adults. So you contradict yourself, and not only do you contradict yourself, you have mentally, or as far as values, you contradict yourself in actions when you witch hunt people talking about children. That's the difference. You're witch hunting people, and that's where you have to be destroyed and stopped, because you went too wrong in the opposite direction. You don't get to contradict yourself and think, no, what should we do with you? After you contradicted yourself so sharply, what are we to do with you? No one knows this. No one knows 40 states allows adult penis to be in children's vagina. How many of you Americans know that's in 40 states? You don't know it, and you don't agree with it. So that means if you don't know it and you don't agree with it, and people have been witch hunting people and playing around people's life for children, then America's in trouble. Bottom line. You don't see Russia witch hunting people, and they know their laws is at 16. You don't hear them talking about, oh, well, adults should be only with adults. You don't hear them talking that kind of foolishness. Which would be if they have the law set at 16. You have laws that allow adults to have sex with children in 40 states, and here you are talking about children being with adults. It's too much of a contradiction, and you have caused too many people's lives and livelihoods as a result. Look at all the people that's been locked up. Look at all the people that's been locked up, falsely accused of being with children, and children are allowed to have sex anyway with adults in 40 states. Come on. Looks like that's a cease of the system right there, because your culture and community is separate from your actual laws concerning this. Y'all don't agree with this. So that's to say you're separate from America. You're separate from America by law. Let me say that again. You're separate from America, American citizens, in American values, in American culture. You're separate from the actual American laws. You're already two different countries, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Because none of y'all agree with that. So you're two different countries. So you have the government country and you have the community country already from this. Don't be slow, man. Please don't be slow. You're two different countries by value systems. You're two different countries based off of the children. You are. While at the same time, the laws that the people that made these laws for 40 states to allow children to have sex with adults, at the same time, in the same breath, in the same world of reality in real time, they're sitting up here prosecuting people for being with children. How can you do that when you open the door in the first place? If you open the door through allowing adults to have sex with children, how can you come in and say and prosecute anybody? I'm talking about common sense. I'm not talking about anything else. Common sense tells you you do not, you're expecting human beings to regulate something that you open the door to. And they're not going to do that. Most human beings are not. And you should know this as a competent human being. Okay? But there's no soundbite of 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children in your culture. You can go check the interviews of all kinds of different types of celebrities, famous people, basketball players, actors, singers, rappers, everybody. Nobody in America actually has soundbited. You can't find too many people. If you do, it's a fluke anyway. You can't find the majority of these famous people, adults and sportsmen and all these different people, politicians as well, gangsters and thugs, criminals and felons. No one has the soundbite of 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children here in America. No. So you don't even live the reality of your country. Okay, so let me go through. Like I said, I'm going to be hitting different angles. This video, I'm going to be hitting angles of your famous people, how they feel about it. How they feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina. How do they feel about that? Meanwhile, they're witch hunting everybody. You can't witch hunt nobody. Why don't you go witch hunt your community, your law system? Why don't you go to Capitol and witch hunt them for allowing 40 states to allow adults to have sex with children? You're not going to do that because you're a coward. Most Americans are. They find convenient enemies who they think they can play with, and that's really what they're about. They're not really about protecting children. If they were, then it would already be a revolution, and there will already be people that have fiery torches going down to the Capitol, but you don't see that happening. So really, it's people really are not about that life. That's what's making it more disgusting. So, but I'm going to go through a famous list of people and so you could see your famous stars who you so love and you're so endeared with. Let me stir your mind up about how would they feel about this? How would Denzel Washington feel about 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children? How would Denzel feel about adult penis going into children's vaginas in 40 states? How would Denzel Washington feel about that? How would Jay-Z and Beyonce feel about that? 40 states allowing adults to have sex with female vagina, children's vagina. 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vaginas. How would Jay-Z and Beyonce feel about that? How would they answer that? How would they answer what do you think they would say? What do you would think they would say about 40 states in their country they so love? How would you think they would feel about the reality of 40 states allows adult penis to go into children's vagina in 40 states in this country, which is the majority? How do you think Jay-Z and Beyonce will feel about that? How do you think Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, how do you think they would feel about that? 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina in 40 states. How do you think they would feel about that? How do you think Janet Jackson would feel about that? After her brother was basically hounded by America, 40 states allows adult penis to go into children's vagina. How do you think Janet Jackson would feel about that bombshell? Relieved, I would think. Relieved after everyone acts like this is so amazing. But yet 40 states allows adults to have sex with children. How do you think Eddie Murphy would feel? How do you think he would find this funny? How do you think Eddie Murphy would feel, the comedian? How do you think Eddie Murphy would feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think he would feel about that? How do you think James Brown would have felt about that? How do you think James Brown would have felt about this? When he made a song, This Is a Man's World, and it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a little girl. How do you think he feel about 40 states allowing adults to have adult penis to go into children's vaginas? How do you think of James Brown? How do you think James Brown would have felt about that? How do you think George Clinton, funk master of Parliament, how do you think George Clinton would have felt about, after he done made One Nation Under the Groove, how do you think he would feel about his nation allowing 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children, allowing adult penis in 40 states to penetrate female children's vaginas? How do you think he would feel about this nation who he was talking about on One Nation Under a Groove? Let's go to the neighborhoods. How do you think Compton would feel about this? How do you think Compton, California will feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into females' children's vaginas? How do you think Compton would feel about that? All the gangs, all the people, all the OGs, all the old school, all the young. How would Compton, California feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina in 40 states? How would Brooklyn, how would Brooklyn feel about this? How East New York feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think Madonna feel about this? All the criticism she received. How do you think she feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think Prince would have felt about this? You know how Prince loved, he loved God. He talked about God. He talked about real things in life. How do you think Prince would have responded to 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children's vagina? How do you think Prince would have felt about that? How do you think Michael Jackson would have felt about it? All the way back around full circle. How would Michael Jackson feel after all he went through, how much he did actually love kids, that 40 states allows adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think Michael Jackson would have felt about that? How do you think Rick Ross, the rapper Rick Ross, how do you feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How about Freeway Ricky that sold all that crack in the 80s and the 90s, in the 80s? How do you think he'd feel about 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children? 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina. How do you think Larry Hoover, how do you think he would have felt? How do you think he would have felt about, how do you think he would feel? He's locked up right now. How do you think Larry Hoover would feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to penetrate adult children's vagina? How do you think Big Meech would have felt? How do you think Big Meech would have felt allowing about the age of consent being under 18 in 40 states? How would Big Meech feel about that? Allowing adult penis to penetrate female's vagina. How would Al Capone have felt about that? Adult penis going into children's vagina. How does all your military feel about that? 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children. How does every branch of the military feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into female children's vagina? Children's vagina. How does all the military feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How does the military feel about that? How does the Crips feel? How does the Crips and the Bloods feel about? Let's ask them. Let's ask them with all their guns and how dangerous they are. Let's ask them how they feel about 40 states allowing adults to put penis in children's vagina, no matter what the age is. Either people are adults or they're children. So how would the Crips and the Bloods feel about 40 states? How would the Rolling 60s feel about that? How would the Rolling 60 Crips feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? I gotta do this because you're stuck in la la land, like you don't know how this, you don't think. I'm showing you how this information would interact with all the people you love. With all the people you love. How you think these female rappers, how you think Lil' Kim will feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think she would feel about that? How you think LL Cool J, when he's been on all these cop shows, how you think he would feel? How you think LL Cool J and Ice-T, how you think they both will feel being on all those cop shows? How would LL Cool J, even Morris Chestnut, and Ice-T, how would they feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How would they feel about that in 40 states, and that's by law? How you think KRS-One with all his lyrical raps, how you think he would feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go in children's vagina? How you think KRS-One would feel about that, y'all? How you think KRS-One would feel about that? Huh? How you think Rakim, the rapper, the old school rapper, how you think Rakim would feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go in children's vagina in the majority of the country? How you think he would feel about that? How you think Aaliyah would have felt about that? No, she was criticized. Anybody else left come to your imagination? How do you think all these people will feel? How do you think the whole cast of the Fast and the Furious would feel about 40 states allowing adults to have sex with children's vagina? How do you think all the Fast and Furious actors would feel? How do you think the people off the Matrix would feel? How do you think they would feel? How do you think they would feel? Everybody on the Matrix, the whole cast on the Matrix, Lawrence Fishburne, how do you think he would feel about 40 states allowing adult penis to go into children's vagina? How do you think you'd feel about that? It's something to think about, right? Something to think about. I know. All that foolishness you got going. I'm gonna come back with part 2 on it though.